Black Cowboy, banquet.
From San Antonio, everything that I've got is just what I've got on. When the sun is high in that Texas sky, I'll be bucking at the county fair. Amarillo by morning, Amarillo, I'll be there. Took my saddle in Houston, broke my leg in Santa Fe. Lost my wife and a girlfriend somewhere along the way. I'll be looking for an aid when they pull that gate, and I hope that judge ain't blind. Amarillo by morning, Amarillo's on the mind.
My name is Sammy Phillips, and we're here today to see the championship. Cowboys made the Hall of Fame, you know, and some of the greatest cowboys that have been around the rodeo and the rodeo productions and stuff like that. And it's very, you know, it's really interesting, you know. I'm just glad to be a part of it.
I'm George Cepeda, Councilman, District 4, Rosenberg, Texas. I'm here supporting Larry Callis at the Black Museum. I've known him for about 45 years. He's a gentleman, a scholar. He'll help anybody. I tell you what, we're going to keep his vision alive. The Black Museum is going to touch a lot of hearts and souls and a lot of kids, my brother. And I tell you what, I back him up 100%.
And your name is?
David Solomon.
And what was your event?
I'm a bull rider. I rode the RCA for 15 years. Then I joined the senior citizen pro rodeo, and I rode with them until I turned 50 years old. And I won. And last year, I was just inducted into the South Texas Central Hall of Fame. Just got in there this year, and it's a great honor. I'm alive to receiving these honors. Most people is dead and gone, and just getting the honor. I'm alive. Praise God. You know.
Spell your name for me.
My name is David, D-A-V-I-D, Solomon, S-O-L-O-M-O-N. I want you to meet my pastor. This is my pastor, Yancey. He's one of my favorite fans, and I'm a minister at his church. I am an associated minister.
That's right. This is one of the greatest you ever want to be around. He's a good supporter, and I'm just elated to know about his career as a bull rider, as well as a great humanitarian. So we thank God that we're here with him tonight.
And I'm proud of my pastor.
I'm proud of him too.
That's women going to the highway.
You do a lot of praise out here.
I'll tell you what. Thank y'all for coming.
Oh, you're welcome.
Cow hanging right there, man. All right.
So where you from originally, Mr. Bo?
South Carolina.
That's Charlie Day.
Yeah.
That's right.
I've been back and forth out here a bunch, but I stay in South Carolina. I should have moved to Texas when I was a kid. You know it. It's in there. Yeah. Y'all got horses?
No, we did. You know Harold Cash? Yeah, I used to tour ride with Black History.
Really?
And Harold, Smitty and that bunch?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's all right, bro.
Yeah. We both had horses.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Y'all had
30 years
Whoppers?
with No.
Quarter horses?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's all right.
Yeah.
Y'all real cow people right there now. So
You
weird.
ever heard of Weimar, Texas? You ever heard of Weimar, Texas?
No.
Well, that's where I'm from. It's about 90 miles west of here.
It is.
Population is 1,500. There was 9 in finished classes, so we grew up on a farm.
Oh, man, that's all right.
Yeah. She's from Louisiana, grew up on a farm.
Really?
Yeah.
Y'all still got it. Man, that's
All right, man.
My name is Harold Miller. I've been rodeoing for 40-some odd years, and I'm still after it today. I may quit next year, but I'm gonna try to make one more year at least. Might make another one. I just have to see what Jesus tell me what to do.
I'm Gary Richard, professional bull rider, retired in 04. Glad to be honored. It's a pleasure and it's a very great accomplishment. I thank Larry for all the great work he's been doing and work to do to come. And I just thank God and they gave me the opportunity and they thought about me, inducted into the Black Hall of Fame.
We're here at the Black Cowboy Museum for the second annual Hall of Fame introduction. My name is Jeff Cook, and I was inducted this year. It's an honor to be in here with these other guys. I knew most all of them, rodeoed with them, traveled with some of them.
Tell me a little about your career, sir.
Oh, wow. Well, I started out as a kid riding rough stock horses. And later on started roping, then started working cattle, training horses, worked for different ranches all over, and broke colts for people, trained roping horses, showed horses for different customers that owned them. And, just cowboy life. I've been very lucky to do what you love.
Okay, my name's Tom Smith, and I'm here to honor my friend Harold Miller. Be inducted into the Black Cowboy Hall of Fame.
My name's Robert Black. I came up here to greet everybody and watch Jeff Cook up here today get in this thing, and really glad to be up here. Seen a lot of good people I hadn't seen in 25 years up here.
I'm Freddie Gordon. That's my brother Sherman Richardson getting inducted, so I'm here to enjoy it.
Your name, sir?
I'm Tex Williams, and I'm here because I'm one of the first inductees to graduate the rest of the inductees that's coming in.
I am here because they are inducting my dad into the Hall of Fame. My dad was one of the Black Cowboys. He had his first rodeo in 1948, and he actually won. And he was giving us Uncle Freddie. Who gave Daddy that saddle? Who gave Daddy the saddle?
Oh, Roy Rogers.
Roy Rogers. Roy Rogers presented my dad with a saddle.
Yeah, Madison Square Garden, New York City. I think it was like in '56. Well, I've done rodeo for about 25 years. I win quite a bit and lost a bit, but I enjoyed it. But I didn't like to travel. Like a rodeo cowboy, got to stay on the road just about 11 months a year. So I didn't want to do that. So I'd make a few of them and come home and then go back and make some more.
Tell me about your career.
Most of my rodeoing career was in high school and college. And, I won a barrack riding in '67, and I turned around and won a barrack riding in '68. That was in the high school finals, and I'm the first black to win the high school finals and go to the high school national finals.
Wow.
I rodeoed a little bit off and on, depending on what rodeo that I wanted to go to, but mainly I wanted to have trucks, so I bought trucks and rodeos. That's pretty much what I did.
Let's give a round of applause to Larry Callis. I get choked up every time I watch that. I've watched it a lot of times. Larry Callis, let's have him say a word.
All right, it's hard for me to talk, but I'm going to try to talk and tell you why I really opened this museum. To tell the truth, God asked me to open this museum. I didn't want to open a museum. I even tried to talk God out of it. I say, God, I can't even talk. I say, how do you want me to open up a museum? He said to step out in faith. And when I stepped out in faith, that's when everything started happening. I cannot believe what's happening in this museum. I see all these people out here. I told Edmund, I said, man, we ain't gonna have nobody here. Edmund said, we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it. He works hard. He works real hard. But I'm truly blessed. I see so many people out here I know personally. Bob's probably the oldest. My oldest friend that I have in here. We met on the other side of town. Well, outside of Texas. Texas is my cousin. That don't count. But he was the guy I looked up to. I always wanted to be like him. And I even have pictures in my museum where it's so weird what happened. He's bending down in college. And I have a picture of me bending down in college, and I was in the same position that Tex was in. And I took a picture of it, and I took a picture of him, and I say, see, Tex, I'm following in your footsteps. But that was, 40, 50 years later. But Bob and Jeff Cook, I can't say enough about Jeff Cook. Jeff Cook asked me to play at his wedding, and he told me where it was going to be. I said, man, I ain't never played in a place that big. And right when I got ready to play for Jeff Cook, Travis Tritt called me and asked me to open for him. I said, man, I'm playing for a guy in East Bernard. I was playing for Travis Tritt in Houston. And I said, I don't know if I can make it to Jeff Cook's wedding at the time. Well, they let me open and they let me go. I barely got in there in time. That place was packed. The biggest wedding I ever played for, Mr. Jeff Cook. And now Jeff has got something going on. Jeff said, Larry, what you need to do in your museum is have Leon Coffey, next year in the Hall of Fame. I said, hey, you think he would be in my museum? He said, I'm a real good friend of him. He said, I can get him to be in here. And he said, you want to go with me? I said, no, I'm at the museum, man. I can't go. I just can't jump up and leave. And he went and talked to Leon Coffey a couple of days ago at the rodeo. He said, Larry, he wants to be in your museum. I said, wow. Then he called Fred Whitfield. He said, I talk to Fred Whitfield every day. So I said, okay, get Fred Whitfield. And he said, Fred Whitfield wants to be in your museum. I went, whoa. And then somebody told me to get Charlie Sampson. I said, well, I got Charlie Sampson's number. I've had it for 8 years. I haven't called him in 5 or 6 years. And I called him up. He said, hey, what's going on, buddy? I said, you know who you're talking to? He said, yeah, Larry Callis, Black Cowboy Museum. I said, yeah. I said, I'd like to have you in my museum. And he said, well, put me in there. So I'm going to have all 3 of them next year. But I give all the glory to God. Everything that's happened to me. If you come to my museum, I had some people that filmed me, a couple of months ago? John and his friends sitting 2 tables. They filmed. And man, they can see what God is doing in that museum. He's got his fingerprints on everything. I just can't tell you enough of what God is doing at my museum. With my little voice, you know. But hey, people want to hear me. People want to see me. We have bus loads. We have 95 people coming tomorrow. 95 kids coming tomorrow. Man. But we're going to do this right now. But what are we doing? Oh, Harold Cash.
No, not yet.
No, not yet. Okay.
Real quick, if Eric, you can move it. He talked about the museum, big things happening for the museum. We can show it here. The county has backed up the museum. I guess we have the county here, representatives from the county here. Dexter, our new commissioner. Thank you, and the county for working on this. So we signed, Larry signed a contract last year for this. It was about 2 years in the making of back and forth contracts and ideas. They finally signed it last year. New elected officials started on January. We were supposed to break ground on this past January, and they come to us. Dexter said, "Hey, we have a vision to make it bigger and better." So, and that was about 2 weeks ago that Larry and Dexter met. So this, hey, we can wait, make it bigger and better. We need it. We'll bring buses from all over the world. Thank you, the county. Also, I don't want to forget the city of Rosenberg for supporting us all these years since the very beginning. We have city council members from the city of Rosenberg. They backed the museum. They've been there from the very beginning. So thank you guys, City of Rosenberg, for supporting us. Anyway, so we got to get these awards going. We're running behind. I hope everybody enjoyed the meal. Now what we all came for is see these Cowboys get inducted into the Black Cowboy Museum Hall of Fame. To help us present these awards is our Master of Ceremonies, Harold Cash, Championship bareback rider. Let me not say too much. He goes without saying. He's a 2002 inductee to the Houston Livestock Show Black Go Texas Committee Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer for that. 2010 inductee, National Multicultural Hall of Famer in Fort Worth, Texas. Harold Cash.
Thank you. Larry, just remember, when God closed one door, he opened another. And that's what happened. He opened another. And we can't have enough prayer. I'm in there, will you settle me down and all the other Cowboys? Jeff Cook was a Cowboy's prayer. Let us all bow. Dear Heavenly Father, we'll pause in the midst of this occasion, giving honor and thanks to Thee for making it possible. Life for tomorrow is not promising, but dear God, we know You can make it everlasting. You are the guiding light, and You can make it shine in the very, very darkness of night. For all the things that You can do, dear God, as a cowboy, we'll ask no special favors, not as to help breaking a barrier in a time event, or even drawing a horse that's a cinch to win. And whatever You do, dear God, don't make us above normal. While we might ride a bull that's never been rode, but give us the strength to perform in the best of our ability. And when we make that last ride, oh yes, Lord, let that be the ride into Your heaven. Where the grass, we don't really know. It might grow a lush green, and it just might even grow stirrup high. You as our found judge, tell us that our entry fees have been paid in full. These blessings we ask in Your name. Let us all say amen. Amen. If there are any veterans in the house, if you can stand, please stand. We'd like to thank you all for making America what it is today. Let's all give a salute to Old Glory, United States flag. Let us all bear in mind that if Old Glory, Lord, if you just only talk, I would imagine these are a few things that it would probably say. I was born October 1492, and I was bred right, because July 4th, 1776, the Declaration of Independence became my birth certificate. I'm a many things to a many people, and a host of people have lived and died for me because I am America. I remember the Alamo, the Brooklyn Bridge, the streaming jungles of Vietnam. Over there, Lord, I left my heroes dead on the flange fields of Korea. I'm living in freedom, and if it's God's will and freedom, I'm gonna live the rest of my days. May my integrity be a beacon of hope unto the world. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the flag of the United States of America. Okay, it's time to give honor to some of these great cowboys into this Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Before we do that, I want to introduce another great man. A great man in history. He had no servants, but they called him master. He had no degree, but they called him teacher. He had no medicine, but they called him a healer. Had no army, but he defeated the world. Had no military, and he also conquered the whole world. He committed no crime, but yet they crucified him. He was buried in a tomb, but yet today he still lives. His name is Jesus. Okay. It's time to get some of these cowboys that's long overdue for Hall of Fame, and glad God put this vision into Larry to recognize some of these guys, but other than that, they wouldn't have been recognized. Not making this out of black and white issue, but back then a cowboy just was the forgotten man of history. Yeah. So our first cowboy, guy, I know, I tell you something about this little guy, Gary Richards. You stand, just hold tight 1 minute. Yeah, stand up. I met this guy in Chicago. Not met him, I've been to him in Chicago, and I was late catching the plane in O'Hara. And I called the hotel. I say, is it anybody in there with a cowboy hat on? She say, yeah, sir, but he's black. I say, can I speak to him? I don't know who I sounded like then, but, and she let me speak to him. Gary had I don't know what model Ford it was, but he had a big 430 motor in it. You could even check the oil. I don't believe he checked his oil. He just probably put oil in it. And he came and picked me up with the whole crew, but they recognized me. Some of them got in the back in the camp and let me ride up front with Gary. Gary Richards went to his first rodeo when he was 2 days old. Wow. He come from a long list of cowboys. His whole family, father, grandfather, they come from a rodeo family. Gary started riding horses before he had all his teeth. Riding calves at 5 years old. He was committed to being a cowboy and continued to perfect his craft through high school, eventually turning pro at the age of 21. Gary paid to the PBR was almost disrailed after a career-threatening injury in 1996. Doctors wanted to remove Gary's eye, but Gary refused. Gary had 4 eye surgeries and was able to keep his eye. Gary was laid off from the school he worked in 2000 and decided to finally join the PBR at the age of 38. Gary would go to immediately make PBR history, and he did, by being the oldest bull rider at age 39 to win a Premier Series event, then qualified back-to-back season for the World Finals in 2001 and 2002. Gary held an 18-year record for the oldest World Final qualifier. He rode some of the rankest bulls of his life until he was 43 years old and remained the oldest rider in the PBR history to win a Premier Series event. It doesn't look like that the record will ever be broken. Now it's time to give props to Mr. Gary Richards. Take it off. You give it to him. Gary, stay right here. Get up on the other side. Okay, got it. You can stand over here, Larry, on the other side. Let's have a hand for Mr. Gary Richards, AKA Catfish. All right. Gary Richards, one of the toughest ones that have been through this world in the PBR. Number two, a good friend of mine, Mr. Jeff Cook. I hadn't seen Jeff.
Let's go with the next.
Jeff?
Let's go with the next.
Where you go, Jeff?
He just walked. He went to the bathroom.
All right, let you slide on that one. Gotta go, you gotta go. Yeah. Hope I don't have to leave y'all while I'm up here. This next cowboy I couldn't say enough about. I met him, been knowing him, but we was in Jasper, Texas. First time I ever went out of town to a rodeo. We left Jasper, Texas, and going into Okmulgee, Oklahoma. I won a second and had never been out of town. First time ever going out of town. And 2022 inductee Freddie Garden, AKA Skeet, said, man, you don't want a little money. Say, won't you come on, go to Oklahoma with us? I jumped in that car with him. It was a song, let me get it right now. Don't Drive Your Mama Away by Shirley Caesar. Boy, we listened to that. I took my mother to a concert with Shirley Caesar, and I bought an 8-track tape. And we wore it out. David had a 66 white Ford. And we rode that record out from Oklahoma and back. It was, if you haven't heard it, you got to play it. Just remember this, Shirley Caesar, Don't Drive Your Mother Away. But it had two sons, one no good son and one son, and this mama worked her fingers to the bone. And after he got his degree, got married, said, Mama, we want you to come stay with us. But you got to hear, you want to stay. And she had this no good son too. And after a while, when the kids were growing up, her wife told him, say, hey, you know what? Your mama getting in the way now. I think we ought to get rid of her. And he went to his mother and said, Mama, we're going to take you to an old folks' home. That was the whole thing. We wore that record to let her know they take it to an old folks' home. And as they wait till that old folks' home, they ran across this old song. The old wine son, they stopped. She said, stop, I thought I seen my son. And he asked him, why you taking my mama? Say, you know, mama getting in the way now. She using stuff like this and that and ain't and is. Say, I'm trying to teach my children to use that good language. And the old no good son said, Mama, I ain't got no limousine. Got an old raggedy car. Say, I eat beans out of the can. If you don't mind that, come on and go home with me. And the whole story with this son got out the limousine, the mama got out the limousine to get in the car with his family. I ain't say that helped Pastor Solomon. I ain't say that turned into preaching, but that did help. When we listened to that record, we wore it out all the way to Oklahoma and back. Me, Skeet, and James Thomas, I believe, with us. That was the first time I ever went out of town by this man right here, David Solomon took me. David Solomon started riding bulls when he was 16 years old, and he rode bull at Kingville High School, joined the Black Rodeo Cowboy Association, which is called the Southwestern National Cowboy Association now. It was in 1983 he won a championship. After that, joined the service, pro rodeo, and won 7 buckles with them in 2022. He was inducted into the South Central Texas Hall of Fame just last year, David? Just last year. And he's also associated minister of the First Elizabeth Baptist Church under the leadership of Pastor W.D. Yancey. How about a warm round of applause for David Solomon? Here you go, Dave. All right. Appreciate you, man. Good man. Took me first one, took me out of time. Okay, we finna get out of here then. Let's speed it up. We'll make Jeff. I'm gonna show you how it feels. I'm gonna make you last. Let's go with him. I got him now. I'm gonna make him wait. He went to the bathroom on me. Harold Miller from Seneca, South Carolina. 1975, at the age of 18, Harold went to a rodeo in his hometown in Seneca, and after a friend told him about riding bulls, with no rodeo experience, Harold stepped down over the back of the bull and hung on. He won the rodeo and a prize of $250. That's a lot of money. They're making millions now. Yeah. He thought he could get rich quick riding bulls. The next 15 bulls threw him on his head. Harold spent those next 5 years working construction and riding in the rodeo every weekend. Getting on every bull he could get on, Harold rode bulls for over 2 decades and added saddle bronc and bareback to his mission too. Harold broke his wrist twice in 1990. He stopped riding bulls in 2000 because his wrist hurt so much. He could wrap his wrist up good enough to still ride broncos. And today, Harold is riding at 65, 66 years old. How about a nice round of applause for Harold Miller? Yeah, we cut it off.
Thank y'all so much. Thank you. Yes, sir. Really, thank you.
All right. This cowboy I hadn't seen in a long time, but we buried the great Bubba Goodall in Warden, Texas. And I was walking out of the funeral because I had another wake to go to. And I met Joe Cook, somebody I hadn't seen, and Jeff Cook, somebody I hadn't seen in a long time. And guess who he was with? Phil Lyons, a guy I had never met, yeah, with the great Phil Lyons. Jeff Cook was born in Richmond, Texas. At early age of 9 years old, he rode rough stock. He loved horses, dogs, and cowboying his whole life. He is a member of the Southwestern National Cowboy Association, in which he was an all-around champion in the late 80s, also being a member of the Cowboy Professional Rodeo Association, in which he competed at their several years. Jeff is also a gold card member of the PRCA, in which he made the Texas Circuit Finals 7 times, winning and placing across all major rodeos in Texas, the United States, breaking the training horses for a young age. He had worked for some of the largest ranches in South Texas. His credit most of his success for meeting his wife at a young age and allowing him to be a successful horseman. He also trained and showed rope horses for the several years. Jeff is a rancher raising cattle and training and selling a Miracle Quarter horse with his wife. He was trained and sold multiple horses to several of the all-around world champion cowboys and world champion ropers. Jeff is also, along with his wife and daughter, still resides in Fort Bend County, where they continue to raise American Quarter horses and cows, spending a lifetime doing what he loved. How about a name, round of applause, Jeff Cook. Take care of my man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Oh, Jeff.
Our next cowboy, it's a immoral cowboy, but if I heard him say that on the Grammy, immoral cowboy, Calvin Greeley Jr. What a cowboy, what a man. Calvin Greeley was born February the 5th, 1935 in El Campo, Texas. Calvin began riding horses with his dad in the pasture at the age of 3 years old. He won his first roping competition at the age of 14. His prize was $35. Calvin is known for owning, training, and riding great roping horses and still dogging horses. Calvin's career was a truck driver and rodeoing. Calvin owned a small trucking company. Calvin is well known as a great roping and mentor for the rodeo world. He trained and mentored 2 of the calf ropers, champion Joe Beaver and Fred Whitfield. Calvin Greeley went to be with the Lord on August the 4th, 2009. His family will be 7 years old. What a great cowboy, Calvin Greeley. What a man. Let's let him all go.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
And our last cowboy is a marvel that would end the show. He's the brother of one of my idols, a guy I always wanted to be like. Freddie Skeet Richardson is Sherman Richardson. I wouldn't buy a pair of chaps. I wanted to ride with Skeet Chap. He was left-handed, I was right-handed. I couldn't use the rigging of his bull rope. And somebody stole his chaps from the apartment one day, and I got mad as they did. I had to go buy some chaps. His brother that I vaguely knew, but I heard a lot of talk about, Sherman Richardson. Sherman started competing in the rodeo in 1948. That's the year I was born. He was along with the great Willie Thomas Sr. At the age of 18, 1949, he joined the Southwest Colored Cowboy Association, won his first buckle in the all-around cowboy. 1955, he joined the pro rodeo. 1955 through 1959, he competed at Madison Square Garden in New York. Sherman was part of the first blacks to enter the rodeo in Madison Square Garden. Sherman loved to compete in wild horse racing. In 1955, he won the bull riding and wild horse racing in Madison Square Garden. Won wild horse racing in 1956, and in 1957, Roy Rogers gave Sherman a saddle, which he was up in New York, when he was up in New York. Sherman won rodeos competition in his life. Sherman Richard is known as the cowboy in the cowboy world as one of the greatest rodeo cowboys of all time. Sherman passed away, and don't say what year. His family is here to accept his award. What year was that when Sherman passed? 83. Miss Candy, Sammy Ray Phillip, and my all, Mr. Freddie Skeet Riches. God, all well. Get in the middle of this, Sammy. I'll do it.
That's it? Yeah, that's it. We have to be out by 9. It's already 8:40.
8:40.
Yeah.
All right, I'd like to thank everybody for coming. And say a special word for Sammy Ray Phillips. We used to rodeo together. He rodeoed in 71, and I rodeoed in 71. And wait a minute, I'm telling my age. Hey, I want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart for coming out here and celebrating the Cowboys we had. Thank y'all. Hopefully we see you next year. It's gonna be a lot bigger than this. This is great. This is more than I ever dreamed of. But with the 3 we're gonna have next year, it's gonna be huge. I don't know if I can handle it. Hey, thank you guys. Be careful. God bless you. Oh, special thanks from Mr. Miller from coming from South Dakota. Driving all the way down here. Yeah, all right. Thank you guys.
All right, we'll be looking for everybody next year. Like I say, a couple of people. Miss Cynthia Guillory, what you saying? This is the first black lady rodeo announcer with the Bill Pickett invitation. We're glad to have you with us tonight. Have Mr. Morgan from the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo left yet? We'd like to thank you, Mr. Morgan. Everybody that came out, we're looking for y'all next year.